Boru Stoves started back in 2009. We were bringing in containers from China. There was a bit of a delay with the containers, so we actually made a stove just to tie us over for about 2 months in the peak season, where we had something to sell. And again, it was never designed as a business. It was designed as a stopgap, which most of the best ideas are, just to move us forward for those 2 months for something to sell. But then straight away after that, when we went out, we found that there was a desire there for something that was actually made in Ireland for the Irish market by Irish people, and that's what we actually did. Was we went out and we started Boru Stoves. Today's event is about showcasing Boru Stoves as a brand, first of all, but it's opening up to the public to leave people come in off the street and actually see what we do. An awful lot of people think that we're just either a showroom here, but we're, in essence, what we are is a full working factory. Most people, they drive past to see the sign, they think we're just selling stoves, but we're not, we're making here. When people come in and they see how it's done from start to finish, they're amazed that all this is actually going on in Ireland. Any material we try and buy in Ireland off Irish companies. The reason being is, if we buy something off an Irish company then is going to be spending in their local economy, which is going to create more jobs, which in turn then is going to create more stove sales, because the more jobs means the more money. And we've been very simplistic in our approach with it, but everything is about supporting local. And when I say local, I mean the island of Ireland. And again, the end goal of doing that is because it will drive our business forward.
Boru is a 100% Irish-made product. It's made here in the home of Hurling and Thurles. It's fully manufactured from start to finish, from plate steel coming in to the time it's boxed and goes out the door here in Thurles. So when it comes in in flat mild steel. It's then cut on either our plasmas or laser machines. It goes to the brake press area to get folded. After that, it goes down to our welding areas. It gets welded complete if it's a dry stove. If it's a boiler stove, it gets welded in 2 stages. The boiler gets welded first and it's tested. Once it completes its test, it goes on and gets finished. After that, it goes down and it's the start of its assembly line. So it gets shot blasted to get clean the steel. It goes down along the line and it's pre-assembled. So all the doors, the grates, the ash pans, the retainers, all of them are put in at that stage. It goes on further then into the spray booth. Finally comes out into the final assembly area where the glass, your scammel board, your handles, your knobs and all the finishing parts go into the stove. We run at about 300 stoves a week off the finishing line. Now in our busier season it goes up to anywhere near 500 to 600 stoves. Most of our workforce have been with us for a few years and they're all fully qualified, and we often take on new staff and we train them up fully, and there's no specific skills required for the work. Each operative gets fully trained in the area that they go into, and each operative gets cross-trained in every other area, so you're not stuck doing one job all the time. You get cross-trained to do every job. The only areas where we look for specific skills will be in our design team and our management team.
Without our workforce, we don't have a business, because they are the core. It's their ideas. It's not a case that we're sitting in an office and we're coming up with all these fantastic ideas. It's the guys that are down on the floors, the guys that are welding, it's the guys that are whatever they're doing down there. They're the ones coming up with the ideas. They have families at home. They're talking. They're saying, well, geez, if you did this to your stove, it might be better, and they're coming back in, they're bringing in the ideas. We have meetings every day with all our employees. We split it up for 15 minutes every morning. We have between 7 and 10 employees, and we all stand around in a circle and we talk for 15 minutes about how we can better ourselves as a company, how we can better our product, and how we can better ourselves personally in our own workspace. And an awful lot of people look at products and they say, well, we need a product like that. We have to go out and get something like that. We don't. We look at our competition and our competitors and we say, what are they not doing? What area of the market are they not selling to? how can we be different? So one of the new products we brought out now, it's a nashless system. You've no ash, no dust, no soot around the house, by using a vacuuming system on it. It had never been done before. So if we'd looked at everybody else's products, we would probably ended up with something like that. But we didn't. We looked at what they didn't have and what annoyed people about putting in a stove and what stopped them from putting in a stove. So we felt ash was the big thing, so we came up with that. So in turn it creates a fresh product all the time.
The likes of Brew and those small industries, they are the unsung heroes of the small indigenous industry. Overall, Brew are a very important part of the town here. They're a very important part of the local economy. And I think the message here for government and the message for people who are legislating and creating policy is that it's not all about foreign investment. It's not all about big multinationals. There's a lot of small people here, a lot of families with brilliant ideas. All they need is that gentle encouragement, that bit of financial and practical support when it's needed. And if they're given that, you'll see many more companies like Boru trading successfully. And I'm delighted to be associated with Boru. I came and contacted them first when I put in a stove in my own house. And it's a Boru stove. It works very well.
There's €300 million going out of Tipperary every year in imported energy. So if we could have more businesses like Boru manufacturing stoves that are heating homes using local timber, we could stop that 300 million leaking out of the county. If we stretch that out across the island, there's nearly 6 billion that Ireland spends every year on imported energy. So similarly, if as a country we can start to reduce that €6 million bill, we'll be making our country wealthier per year by 2 or 3 billion.
It's very important that people recognise, first of all, that Boru Stoves are manufacturing a product that most other companies will actually import from China. So if we're talking about a carbon footprint, for instance, a stove that's made in China that arrives for sale here in Ireland, the carbon footprint of that stove is massive before we ever do, and I know they're an environmentally friendly product, but we should always be supporting local businesses, and it's very important for the local economy, that they're employing something near the range of 100 people, I think, in peak season. So that's obviously important for all the local businesses around here as well. All those guys are going to buy a sandwich at lunchtime, and they're going to buy diesel on the way home, and they're going to go shopping at the weekends, so everybody is benefiting from that. We have a lot of very talented people around the Thurles area, and I think we're seeing that now. We're seeing a lot of emerging start-up businesses here in Thurles as well, and we've got a great facility here in Thurles. We have an incubation centre, and if you had a business idea, you could go in there and you get a free desk, free business mentoring for 12 months. So why wouldn't you start a business in Thurles?
It's great to be firstly invited on here by Dermot and all the staff in Boru Stoves. From day one, Dermot has been a great supporter of us. Like Boru Stoves, we started off as a very young company. Boru now have over 130 people working for them, all local people working in a local business. The business that they have and the ethos that they have, they bring it across Ireland, the UK and Europe. We got involved with Dermot initially through a campaign here in Thurles 3 years ago. So we were delighted to be called down and be part of this, because it's great for the local community and great for Thurles, Tipperary and Ireland, of course.
Well, to help grow our business in Thurles, the big thing and the key thing that we have is export. We've meetings set up with people from Russia, Japan, we supply France already, we supply Greece already. So what we're doing is we're pushing the export, we're pushing brand Ireland, we're pushing brand Tipperary. We're trying to be ambassadors for our country, but we're trying to sell the Irishness. Everybody knows where Tipperary is throughout the world, so hopefully we'll be a global brand again with our logo and everything. It translates well across across the world. So I'm hoping that we'll have product available in 20 to 30 countries.